Well, good evening, Bears, and welcome to this evening's Rangers Radio. We're joined by myself, GB, and with the one and only Bridgeman, and the man with the stats, Port Bear. How we doing, gentlemen?
Evening, Gary. How we doing, mate? How we doing, Bridgeman? Hope everybody's well. I'm looking forward to tonight's show, mate.
Oh, can I say a huge good evening to you guys? Massive good evening to the guys in the lobby, and to all the Rangers fans that are listening in all over the world. Good evening. Welcome to Rangers Radio.
Well, welcome to both of you. Obviously, an exciting weekend at Old Firm encounter again, and I think the only man that can kind of kick us off tonight is the view from the bridge. So let's hear from it.
View from the bridge. Can't take it anymore. View from the bridge. Can't take it anymore.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to A View from the Bridge. From the Celtic Rangers game at Celtic Park on Sunday, 1st of May 2022, an SPFL League match. Referee was John Beaton. Attendance, I can't find the attendance records anywhere. The last Old Firm game of the season was fast-paced and with blood and thunder tackles, and the final result 1-1. I think that scoreline flattered Celtic a little, to be honest. They ran out of legs again, and Rangers had run them ragged. Unfortunately, a nice ball from across our goal, which catches Bourne out near the far post, and that allows Jota to score. Disaster for Rangers. I'm afraid Bourne failed to clear the ball away and sold the jerseys there. And not for the first time this year. Celtic played their best football after they scored, and they pressed us high and hard, making a few chances which fortunately they missed them. The second half was much better for Rangers at this time, and we made some great chances, and that's apart from our goal. We should have had an opening goal when Ryan Kent stole in front of Ralston and to meet a James Tavernier cross, but could not find a target from 10 yards. For the 90 minutes, our keeper never had a shot to stop. On 2 minutes, the game. On 2 minutes, a long high ball from McGregor down the left to Kent, who nutmegs Ralston, and running into the box, he runs into Borna, who was now up with play. Really wasted a great chance there. Lack of communication, I'd say. On 13 minutes, Tav on the right wing gets in a really good cross just short of the 6-yard box, and Kent steals in behind Ralston and gets his shot in. Unfortunately, wide of the post. So he didn't. I don't think he made the ball correctly, to be honest. And Hart just picks the ball up, didn't he, go past the post and clears. Hard lines there, Kent. But I'd say that was a real sitter. On 15 minutes, Lundstrom sends in a great diagonal ball out to Kent on the left wing, inside the Rangers half, and he controls the ball, strides forward unchallenged, and he shoots low, about 25 yards. But the keeper sees it coming and saves it. On 21 minutes, Taylor in the inside left position threads a lovely ball through to Maida. Inside the box, he controls, gets in a cross on the 6-yard line, which should have been easily cleared by Borna. But Jota gets in front of him and scores easily, 1-0 against the Famous. On 32 minutes, Arfield loses the ball to Hatate, who gets in a great cross, which is met by Jota, who tries a header, but it goes way too high. 42 minutes, a tremendous cross from the right by Jota to the onrushing Maida, who heads the ball wide of the far post. 44 minutes, Kyogo picks up the ball on the inside left position and runs straight for the box, where he cuts inside and shoots, but it goes wide. Half time, Celtic 1, Rangers 0. Second half on. Rangers start the second half well on 47 minutes. A cross ball from the left by Borna is dangerous. Captain Vicker swipes at the ball, but couldn't connect properly with it. The ball could go anywhere, but it goes straight across the goal and out for a corner. Lucky there, Celtic. The corner's taken by Tav into the middle, where Sakala gets in a header, which is blocked and goes to Goldson, and he leathers the ball over the bar for about 100 yards over the bar. On 54 minutes, a corner on the right, taken by Tav, high to the far post, met by Sakala, who heads the ball away over the bar again. 55 minutes, a lovely through ball to Maida, inside the box from O'Reilly. He hits the ball first time, but it goes way too high. On 59 minutes, another great cross by Tav right into the box. It's defended fiercely, and the ball breaks out to Davis, who has a shot which goes miles over the bar. In 63 minutes substitution, Scott Wright replaces Aribo. Substitution again, Ryan Jack replaces Stephen Davis. In 67 minutes, a brilliant passage of play by Rangers. Lundstrom to Jack and on to Wright, who finds Arfield, and back to Wright, who finds Sakala, and who passes the ball on to Kent, and he controls the ball, and Sakala waits for Sakala going on the outside of him, and he just throws the ball right into his path. Unbelievable. What a great pass. So on. As far as I'm concerned, Sakala thrashes the ball. Marvellous shot into the near post. The keeper had no chance. He did a despairing dive, but he wasn't going to get it. So, on 71 minutes, Lundstrom pushes a terrific ball through to Sakala, who shrugs off the defender and advances into the box, where he gets in a great shot that is tipped over the bar to a corner. The corner was taken by Tav, long to the back post, but it's met by Sakala, who heads over the bar. He seems to be heading a lot over the bar. 72 minutes, a free kick by Tav goes long to the far post, where Lundstrom tries a header, and that goes over the bar. In 84 minutes, Wright gets the ball down the right, challenged all the way by Starfelt, into the box, where Wright passes across to Arfield, where he tries to back flick the ball into the net, but Hart saves brilliantly. The ball breaks out to Jack, who cannot get a decent contact with the ball, and it ends up going straight to the goalkeeper, right in the goalkeeper's gloves. On 86 minutes, a great through ball by Arfield to Sakala, sees him running straight into the box towards the goal, and he gets in a great shot that beat the keeper but cannoned off the inside of the post and out. Hard lines Rangers. 87 minutes of substitution, Rangers Ahmad Diallo replaces Scott Arfield. In 89 minutes, a lovely cross from the left by Borna finds Tav, who heads well wide. Full time, Celtic 1, Rangers 1. Player by player, McGregor 7, Tavernier 6, Bolson 8, Bassett 8, Barisic 6, Lundstrom 8, Davis 7, Sakala 8, Arfield 7, Aribo 7, and Kent 7. The man of the match was Bolson, followed by Bassett, Lundstrom, and Sakala in that order. Excuse me. Match stats. Possession 51% Celtic, 49% Rangers. So to me, that's 50-50. Total shots 9 for Celtic, 14 for Rangers. Shots on target 1 for Celtic, 5 for Rangers. Corners 2 for Celtic, 7 for Rangers. Fouls 14 for Celtic, 9 for Rangers. And I think even those stats tell you that to me Rangers are the better team. Oh, so that is the end of A View from the Bridge.
View from the bridge. Can't take it anymore. View from the bridge. Can't take it anymore.
Fantastic again, Bridge. Thanks very much for that. I think yesterday, for me, just personally, I think it just summed up our kind of season. It was, again, some of the decision making. It could have probably been better. But one thing, you couldn't question the character of the team, especially coming back for a goal down again. Portbear, can I get your thoughts on that?
Aye, 100%, mate. I think, yeah, again, this team, I've definitely put to bed the fact that, when people question our character and our commitment and, some of the players' commitment to the cause, etc. I think that's well and truly been put to bed, Gary, over the last few months under Gio. I think some of the big chances yesterday, in particular, in regards to Ryan Kent, the first miss, we know Jota does the exact same movement, steals in front of Borna and gets the goal. But, yeah, again, that we sort of probably the only negative we can give Ryan Kent, mate, is his finishing ability. He should be finishing that goal. GB under, no circumstances should be missing that. It's an easier chance. It's an easier chance, in my opinion, than Jota's, mate. To be really honest, and I think that's one thing that we all know. It's a wee sort of criticism I've got around Kent's game. He doesn't score enough goals, mate. How do you think about that?
Aye, no, that's what was going on in Portland. the decision making yesterday. Tav as well in the first half, I seen go up the park. He must have beat about 4 men, got into the box, and Kent was in the box, and he held on to the ball too long, and that's what it's meaning. It's kind of the game kind of summed up our season a wee bit. The decision making's just not been on point at times, and obviously there was other points in the game, like again Borner defending Kent. It just crazy stuff like that I couldn't understand. And I'll go this take this point to both of you. See the tactics in the Old Firm games. What I've been noticing recently is it we meant to sit in this first half and just stifle them and hope that we get a goal, and then the second half we come out knowing that they're knackered, because it seems to be every time we play them now for 60 minutes onwards that it's that's when we play our best football. Portbear?
I think what you try and do, mate, is if you remember back to how much it's changed in Old Firm games, GB, in regards to the 3-1 humbling we got at Parkhead. I think if you remember that game where they came out and they were absolutely full throttle football, and they got the 3 goals, and they think the game's over. And with that high intensity, the presses that, mate, the speed they play at, it was difficult. The Blues away. So Gio had to adapt, mate. Gio again, and I've been praising the guy on the shows the last couple of times we've been on. Gio's reactive decision making when it comes to management, which my previous regime didn't have. He just 4-3-3 and that's it. He didn't deviate from that. But under Gio, he's learning on the job, Gary, in the league, and he's done very, very well, in my opinion. And what I'm going to get to is what I'm saying in regards to that is he's found a way that, and we all can see this, if you can weather the storm for the first 20-25 minutes when you play Celtic, after 50 minutes, Gary, 55 minutes, they're out on their feet, mate. They're gone. Their legs are gone. They made them 3 substitutes yesterday, which, in my opinion, disrupted their sort of fluidity. So I think if any team's going to look at them, mate, honestly, try and weather the storm. And I'm not just talking about Rangers here, GB, anybody that plays against them, weather the storm, and they're there for the taking, mate. And I think that's what Gio's worked out.
Because it seems to be that way, Bridge, that it seems to be, and especially the last probably 3 Old Firms for us, that the 60-minute mark seems to be a big plus point for us. That's when we seem to go right at them. And I think you touched on it in the view of the Bridge, that Sakala's chances, Arfield's chances, we could have took that game maybe to 3-1 at least.
Easily. I think the Port's right, but the way I look at it, don't get me wrong, I don't watch Celtic at any time other than they're playing Rangers. Excuse me. The thing is that based on what we know and what we hear, they play, as Port says, 100% flat out. That's what's expected of them, I would imagine. The manager wants them to run their legs off. And when you run your legs off and you're fitter than them anyway, then you're going to run them into the ground. And you'll get your goals within, let's say, 20 minutes. You'll get at least 1 goal, and then you'll tie them up after that, just through fitness. But come the second half, because your legs are starting to go, and they only run for an hour. As far as I'm concerned, they only last about an hour with a fast pace. And then they could still play football, don't get me wrong. They just drop the pace. But if you can keep your game up, or get your game up against them when they drop the pace, then they could be in trouble. A few times they could be in trouble. As you saw yesterday, some of our play was scintillating in the second half. Absolutely brilliant. That goal was about 7 passes between the boys, and that was fabulous, just brilliant. And their goalkeeper, to me, carries a lot of luck, but he does make some good saves, which he did yesterday. And as I say, our goalkeeper never touched the ball, as far as that was concerned.
Yeah.
So that was a great thing for us, for me, for the Rangers. I think that we know what they play like, and we've got a manager there now who's quite open insofar as selecting tactics, and he changes the team multiple times during a game to see the changes taking place, and he uses his substitutes well. I think we played very well. And they... Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, but Port, obviously you're saying about your weathering the storm. I felt in the first half we were weathering the storm. I think that their goal really did come against the run of play, because we were very, I would say we were the better side up until that goal.
You're 100% right, mate. I think if you looked at it yesterday, we didn't allow them to get up to their usual, 20-25 minute blitz. I think Rangers actually pressed very well and controlled the game very well. Joe Rebo obviously playing that false number 9, you Chakala and Kent as your pace in behind. And I think they were terrified of that as well, mate. And obviously you had John Lundstrom doing what John Lundstrom does, mate, absolutely bossing it. And Arfield was just, buzzing about like a bee, working his socks off, mate. Which again, we didn't allow them to get up to their fast flowing football. So we did control the game. And the goal was totally against our run of play, mate. I actually felt right at that point we were going to score. I felt, right, this is coming. It's coming, because we were very dangerous. And if you look at the actual stats as well, mate, shots on target for the whole game, we had 5, mate, and they had 1. I mean, that tells you a million things. It looked like there were a lot of chances yesterday, and I know they had a lot of chances, but they were blazed over the bar, they were blazed wide. But on target, mate, we had 5 and they had 1. So their keeper was the busiest, mate. Definitely, Alan McGregor, his jet, and another day for his deck chair, mate.
Mm-hmm. On their goal, Bridge, was it Borna solely to blame? Do you think Golson could have got there to kind of stop the crossfire? I think is it Amada he's called?
Maida.
Yeah.
Maida.
Maida.
Do you think?
Sorry.
No, I was going to say, do you think it was solely down to Borna, or do you think the team could have helped him a bit?
No. That was a fullback's ball coming across. No problem. He should step forward and leather up with his right foot. He tried to gather that ball with his left foot, and the guy beat him to the ball. And he's 3 yards away. I know he's quick, the boy, but Borna must have fell asleep for a fraction of a second, however. That's what it takes. He should have been. He was standing there. That ball was coming straight to him, and he's thinking, "I'll just pass that ball back out there, just to the corner of the 18-yard box or something." That's what he must have thought, using his left foot. But actually, the goal's at his right. Why is he trying to do that? Anything could happen. So he should be sitting like an old-fashioned clearance. Just go for the ball and get it out of the park. It doesn't matter where it goes. Just get it away from the goal. But he didn't. He tried to. I dare say he did try to genuinely play the ball, but miles too slow. And that happened to him a couple of times over the last few seasons. Particularly, it wasn't that long ago when he got caught out again in a European game. It didn't look nice for him. Didn't look nice for him.
Well, let's hear for the Bears. I think they're always got to give their opinion. I think big talking points was Lundstrom had another fantastic game, Tav as well. So let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show. It's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Paul, I was speaking about Lundstrom there. He's becoming a very favourable favourite for you now.
Mate, I love my midfielders, and when you think back to about the December, January time, when there was mutants that were Middlesbrough, Chris Wilder was going to take him back down to England, his previous manager for Sheffield United, and I don't think any Rangers fan would have. I think some Rangers fan would have given him his taxi fare, mate, or even offered him a lift to go back down south, mate. But I've noticed a change in John Lundstrom's physique, mate. I've noticed a change in him as a person as well. And I tell you, I think to me he's added a stone of muscle for a start. I think he didn't realise the game was a physical for one, Gary, in my opinion. Number two, I think when he played with Sheffield United, I remember him being a more advanced player, playing on the right side of a 3, where he'd get into the box, and he was like a more creative influence, not getting involved in where he's now. Under Gerrard, he became a number 6, mate, but he was restricted in his number 6, whereas Gerrard didn't allow him to go and advance. He was to sit in front of that back 4 and basically sweep up in front of the 4 in the base of the diamond. And I think that you take a lot away from John's game when you asked him to just sit in one position. I think under Gio, he's given another role where he sits in between the centre backs. So Gio's developed him further, mate. And I think Gio's been a big important. I know Gerrard brought him in, buddy, but I think if you think since the moment Gio's come in the door, he seems to have got the best out of John Lundstrom, because he's turned into, in my opinion, he's a cornerstone a Rangers revival since Gio started. From the Dortmund match, mate, that was the night I think Gio really understood where it's being a Rangers manager and he gets the best out of his players. And John Lundstrom's went from strength to strength domestically and in Europe, in my opinion, mate. I think Gio should be looking forward and looking to build your team around John Lundstrom, mate. That's how highly I rate that guy. He wins tackles, he's dominant, he's organising, he's grown to one of the captains in the team, mate. He's organising, and arguably, mate, he's overtaken Ryan Jack. And I know it's a big thing to say. I know there's a lot of listeners out there that love Ryan Jack, but arguably, he's overtaken him.
I think Bridge Lundstrom, for what I noticed yesterday again, was talking to Sakala a lot. I noticed that even at the Braga game, he was roaring at Sakala, and obviously you need your leaders to try and help guys that are a wee bit more inexperienced in the team. But for Lundstrom to be so early in the door, it's amazing how much he's progressed, especially in a game like the Old Firm yesterday.
Yeah, you just need to see him when you're playing, particular 3-5-2. He's the middle one of the three. He's the boss. He's the boss. That's simple as that. He tells him where to go, when to go, and I think you just watch him. He's absolutely fabulous. And when there's no 3-5-2, he steps up. He's not frightened to go up front and take the ball away for a run and things like that. He's not frightened. He's very good, and he's starting to get a wee reputation in Scotland for being, as shall we say, as hard in the tackle as anybody in Scotland. He's a really, really hard tackler, and he's fearless. He's absolutely fearless, and you can see that when the way people look at him. And I'm not being funny. He's absolutely outstanding. By far and away, he's certainly the most thorough defensive midfielder in Scotland. But I'll tell you that right now. There's nobody to touch him. He's not the dirtiest player in the whole world, may I say. But I think he's really, really good. I love it when he can step back and sit between the two centre halves. Just great. And he coaches him along, goads him along. Say what you like. I think he's been outstanding. So the last 3 months, he has been the most improved player. Well, remember at the beginning of the season there, he was getting like 4 or 5 man of the matches in a row, and then all of a sudden he disappeared, and he's been brought back. So Gio has been just tremendous with him, just great. And he obviously likes the way he's doing, and he uses him as a really good tool for doing what he needs to do. And I thought it was a tremendous performance by him yesterday. Tremendous.
What's your own thoughts, GB?
Well, before I give you my own thoughts, I think we've been joined with Blue Star, buddy. Blue Star, you in?
Evening, guys.
How we doing, Blue Star?
All right, Blue Star, mate.
How was your thoughts in the game yesterday?
I was overjoyed, as I said beforehand. I've got to be honest, guys. I call it as how I see it. I genuinely thought they were playing. Let's be truthful. They were playing to win the title yesterday, and Rangers more than adequately held their own. In fact, we should have won the game, in my opinion. What I would say on what you are saying there, I totally agree on the Lundstrom guy. For me, his stature's grown enormously. I think he's playing with hunters of confidence. What I would say, guys, is on their goal, for me, undoubtedly, Barisic should have hit the ball with his right foot. But what I would say is, Bassey was as near to the ball as what Barisic was. He should have cleared the ball. The two of them were ball watching, and the guy nicks in between the two of them. On Kent's one, Kent's should have hit the ball with his right as well, I know, but he was further out. But when you're in your 18-yard box, as Bridge knows, whether you're a centre half, whether you're a fullback, you do not, especially when there's two of you do not allow any guy to nick between the two of you when you're talking about less than 2 yards of space. So both of them were at fault. And on that, the two guys that I think that are running riot in our team now is Bassey and Lundstrom. Is it any coincidence that the two of them have got a physique and they don't get shoved off the ball? I'm looking at some of our players, guys, and there's no doubt about it. I don't think any of us can argue. We're totally powder puff up front. We're no scoring goals. We're creating hundreds of chances, but the bottom line is no put the ball in the net. And you can look at it two ways. Stats are stats. if you look at the first half, when they scored the goal, and I think it was yourself, Port, that said there 2 minutes ago, when they scored their goal, they automatically go for the jugular. Granted, they never put them on target this time, but in other games they have done. We kind of, and he's hit the nail right in the head, we started off the game actually better than them, and they did get the goal against the run of play. But we had a couple of chances, and again, we didn't put them in target. So, for me, Ken, Sakala, and I know the wee, listen, I love the wee guy to bits, and I love Ken to bits. They'll create chances, but that's what we're lacking. And we all know we're through Alfie, etc. But if you've got players in your team that are creating chances and you've nobody there to put them the ball in the net, then you're going to struggle. And our whole season, for me, much as I still think it's been our downfall that's threw it away, and there's no doubt about it, because we had the chance at Ibrox to beat them. If we beat them, then the whole scenario changed again in our favour, and we didn't. We couldn't beat them on Marine Park, and much as I thought we were the better team at Ibrox, but the chances are you've got to take your chances, and for me, that's what we've lacked all season. And we can't even relate to Alfie, because Alfie's record against Celtic, much as we all know the game revolves around him and he holds the ball up well, his goal scoring against Celtic is absolutely putrid. Now, you've got to hold your hands up, guys. His goal scoring against Celtic is absolutely pathetically bad. He's got 2 goals in the amount of games that he's played against them. So you've got to take all things into consideration. We're not scoring enough goals, guys. I don't know what you think about that.
But obviously, we're decimated with injuries and stuff like that now, and we're making down with, well, technically, Sakala's a makeshift striker for us now. But in that situation yesterday, when he was allowed to be more up the park and had more support, do you think he's maybe going to grow into that role, Port?
Well, I'm never going to doubt Gio's ability, mate, to Roy Mackay, etc., David Voss. I'm never going to doubt their ability and to coach and bring the best out of players, because there's evidence to prove that their coaching methods work. Lundstrom, Blue Star touched on it, Bassey, who I think's developed even further under Gio. So I think there's always room for improvement, Mr. Sakala. I just think he creates chaos, mate, when he's on the pitch, and I mean that in a positive way, by the way. I think he doesn't know what he's going to do next. But as a number 9, I think he's very limited, mate, through the middle, because he can't play with his back to goal. He's a guy that relies on service, running the channels. And when he takes the ball a wee bit deeper and he gets turning and he gets running at defenders, Bridge will verify this. I played a deep line midfield role. One thing you hate running at you, mate, is a fast player running directly towards you, because then you're running backwards yourself. Very difficult to defend against. So I'm not going to doubt the guy's ability to coach, mate, because I think, he's very raw. But, the way he takes that goal yesterday, mate, he takes that goal, with a great team move that Bridge touched on with the view to the Bridge. Great pass, 1-2 weekend in, and, Joe Hart's an England international, mate, and he's just done him at the near post. You shouldn't make him beat a near post, I know that, but he's absolutely done him at the near post, mate. So he can finish, and he's proved that. I think that was his 12th goal this season, if I remember right. For not a lot of starts, and most of the starts have been out wide. But I think there's still room for improvement, mate. And if he just keeps listening to, the coaches that we've got, then he'll not be far away, mate.
Well, coming to you, Bridge, was the thing that I was more impressed with, and it's been a kind of common factor in all firms, is the character. We can't question the character of the team, because again we went 1-0 down yesterday, and the heats didn't go down. We still kept to the game plan, and eventually we did get our rewards. And as Blue Star touched on, we could have ended up going on to win it.
Yeah,
Brid?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, there you go, Brid.
Yeah, okay, all right. What I was going to say was, that team, Celtic, are a very good team. There's no doubt in that, and that's a very good manager they've got there. So with no doubt in that either. So it was like 2 really good teams and 2 really good managers going head to head yesterday. And actually, we know, because we saw it, if they had that wee bit more luck, then they could have been 4 or 5 up by half time. Dead easy. That's how bad we were at times. But in the second half, we showed them we can play football. We had done so in the first half as well. But really and truly, in the second half, we took command and we played some marvellous stuff. They didn't know what to do because the style of football they play, very fast-paced, and they start to run out of steam. And they bring on 3 subs to sort of make up for the numbers. And the ones they brought on are quite good players as well, truth be told. But seriously, this team that we've got are absolutely outstanding, in my opinion. They're a tremendous side at the moment, and they've got the guts and the fight, and that's been instilled into them by Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. He's taken these players, the same players, and he said, "This is what we want to do, and we're going to do it that way, that way, that way." And they've done it, and it's been working for them. They can see and feel what it's like to play football at a top level. Here they are sitting in a semi-final at Ibrox on Saturday. Oh my God! Just imagine the nerves on them at the moment.
Bridge touches on depth of squad there. I mean, probably this is what Gio was starting to see a wee bit, that we've got a couple of injuries, but we still need the quality come off the bench, because I think if we were pulling a Roof off the bench yesterday, the game could have been won.
Undoubtedly, mate. Undoubtedly. And that's been to our detriment. And I know we've lost the likes of, we've lost 4, and they've all been for the forward area. And we've lost Hollander at the back. So there's absolutely no doubt about it. Gio knows. And in fact, guys, we've all been on here umpteen times saying that for a long time there he wasn't using subs. And it could just be, much as I thought he was wrong at the time, but it could just be he'd already looked at them and said to himself, "No, I don't fancy these guys." A lot of them you couldn't blame them with the lack of depth that we've got now, and that's something that's got to be rectified in the summer. On that, I would say this: I'm still 100% sure that I definitely think Roof will play some part on Thursday, only because Tav came out after that first leg when he turned around and says, "Well, it'll be a different game at Ibrox, and we know we've got a couple of players coming back." So that makes me think that we've done everything in their power. And remember, Gio said at the time, before the first leg tie, that Roof would be out for a couple of weeks. So here's hoping, fingers crossed, that they have been able to get him fit. Because for me, guys, the difference a guy in attack makes, even to the rest of our team, if they think they know they've got a guy up there that they can rely on to put the ball in the net, that in itself gives you even more momentum and confidence. But honestly, guys, I've never been so sure in all my life. I'm positive that we'll win this tie on Thursday. And on that, can I just say this? I was listening to Radio Snide earlier, and they had a Celtic supporter on, and he turned around and he says, "Well, see, they're picking sick guys, as you all know. They were convinced they were having a title party yesterday, and we ballooned that." So he came on and he says, "Well, do you know this?" He says, "In my opinion," he says, "if my team could only win a Scottish Cup and get into a semi-final, then that's a disastrous season." And I'm saying that for my own team, he says. So Kenny Miller turned around and he says, "Well, okay, there's an easy way to answer that. What if they win, they get through the semi-final and get to the final? And in fact, what happens if they win the final?" Know what the guy's answer was? "I'll not be back on here for months," he says. And he said it when he was dead downtrodden. I'm telling you guys, they're terrified. They're absolutely gobsmacked that their team couldn't beat us on their own park yesterday. They were convinced they were humping us and they were getting a title party, and we gazumped that. So on that alone, guys, our team know that they were going in 4 days later to play probably the biggest tie that Maester Ames ever played in. And yet they still went out in that mid. And let's be honest, most of the game, Rangers had more than capable. They played them after park at times. And that, for me, was a very proud moment. And the very fact we stopped their title party, guys, we can't say anything but our team played really well yesterday. And I'm thankful for that. And I'm proud of them. I'm really proud of them. Because a few of them could have hung back, guys. Let's be honest. They wouldn't have wanted to get injured and miss that game on Thursday. And they didn't. They went hell for leather and they get tore right into them. So we can't ask much more. We're playing without a striker, goodness me. We're playing at Glasgow Rangers. one of the biggest clubs in the world, and we're playing without a striker up front. That in itself is absolutely astronomical. And for us to be getting a chance to get into a final in Europe without playing with a striker, as we have done, that's absolutely, it's mind-blowing at times. And some of the football we've played in this tournament, goodness me, could any of us have seen that at the start of the season? No, we couldn't have. It's brilliant.
Well said, mate. Well said. I think, like I say, it's the only way we're going to get a good round of opinions is if we get the Bears in. So let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Port, are we giving the team enough credit as a support, considering the amount of games they have played this season? I mean, going into that Old Firm game yesterday, a lot of people would have probably been up in arms about a weakened team maybe getting a hammer, but yet Giovanni was brave yesterday. It was a strong team he put out, and it was a team that was, I would say, that was strong enough to go and win the game.
I think, you know, it must be so difficult, Gary. See when you've got a team like Blue Star touched on, when you're missing Morelos, your talisman, right? First of all, he's your talisman of the team. Big, important player for us. Kamal Roof comes in and you know, does a decent job up until he gets injured, scores important goals at important times. You've spoken on the show about it before, you know, like games against Aberdeen, etc., where he come on and gets the flick, that gets the goal, etc. So then we lost him. We've already lost Hadji, who in times has been a massive player in Europe for us, and a creator, and a guy that unlocks defences at times. You know, we've lost all that, mate. And then to have to use then, you know, the bare minimum what you've got in your squad, basically who's there. And these guys have stepped up. And that's what I'm saying, you know, earlier on, in regards to your question is, you know, if they got the credit they deserve? Probably not yet, mate. They're probably not. I think, you know, us as support, we expect every Rangers player to go out there and give us their all. And that's, you know, 100% is all we ever ask for, Gary. You leave everything out the pitch. You know, blood, sweat, tears, leave it all out in the pitch. Give us absolutely everything. But it would have been so difficult, like Blue Star touched on, to think, you know, what about Thursday? I don't want to get injured. I don't want to miss this game, you know what I mean? So sometimes guys will pull it up, you know, challenges, etc. They'll, you know, not give it the 100%. But that team, for Gio, mate, I tell you, he's got them going. That's a team that's playing for their gaffer, and I can see it, you know, no problem, mate. And obviously with Gio at the helm, and the players are buying into it, it's absolutely fantastic, mate. And I give him a big, massive praise to the team and Giovanni Van Bronckhorst.
Bridge, when you touched on the view fair, Bridge, the substitutions, I felt yesterday, I mean, I'm no Scott Wright's biggest fan, especially after the last Thursday's game with Leipzig. I didn't think he had a great game, but yesterday he came on and he hassled their defence yesterday. He got a couple of great balls in for us, and he was a part of the players that set up our equaliser.
Yeah, I think you have to remember what the competition we were in. You're talking about one of the elite areas of football in the world, you know.
Hello, boys.
Oh, cut across here. Is that Jim?
Yes, speaking, boys. Hello.
How you doing, Jim? Thoughts on yesterday, buddy? Fire away.
Well, I've got a few points to make as regards yesterday's game at the Chamber of Secrets.
Give me your first one then. Just first point first then.
Well, I was right at no man's land, and obviously the IRA songs and the Davy Cooper songs and the Ibis Disaster songs were full flow yesterday, because they were 1-1 and they thought it was a party time. See, when we equalised and we started to dominate the last 15, 20 minutes, that's when the bottles and the coins and everything else came flying into us. And the Police Scotland stood there, and I reported the guy. I said, that guy there is just throwing a Buckfast bottle. And he said, he'll be on camera, we'll get him. And I thought, wow, what a joke. I mean, when have we known anybody to be arrested at the Chamber of Secrets for throwing stuff? Plus the fact they put on that young team right next to us. I think they're called the Boys, something, I don't know. But
Jim, Jim, let's stick to the game, the Fitba. We all know what obviously they do and stuff like that. Let's hear your points about our team, how well they attacked this so-called amazing team yesterday. I mean, let's face it, we went 1-0 down and we came back into the game and basically we hammered them for 60 minutes onwards yesterday. So let's hear your thoughts on that, buddy.
You know, our level of fitness is remarkable this year. Absolutely remarkable. I mean, Starfelt and the boy Vickers, they were blown out their derrieres yesterday. Rangers is, you wouldn't know who played on Thursday night. I don't know what Gio's doing. He's turned them around as regards tactical-wise, and he's turned them around fitness-wise. They just didn't stop going. Okay, we rode a wee bit in the first half. That's understandable. You're away from home. But we just, from 65 minutes onwards, there was only one team going to win it. And I thought, we're in here, we've got... And then we go at the magnificent total of 2 minutes injury time after getting 5 minutes injury time in the semi-final. And you know what I mean? But no, it was a remarkable game, and I'm really, really pleased the way the team are performing as regards fitness levels, tactical wise. I was there in Germany last week, and that goal, the guy was either going to hit me with the ball or go in the back of the net. Obviously, it went in the back of the net. But all to play for, guys. All to play for on Thursday.
I'm going to take your point, Jim, about the tactics to Port, since he's a Stato man for us. Port, Gio is a man that knows how to change the game when needed. And I think, I'm not saying that we needed a change at the 60-minute mark yesterday, but for what he done, especially bringing on Scott Wright, after Thursday night, I think he would have been the last person in my mind to bring on. But he done it, and every time he done it, Port, every time he has changed it at Port, it's worked in his favour so far.
I think we have to tip your hat to him, GB, is the fact that he makes reactive substitutions and he makes reactive tweaks in the team when he sees a problem, and that's massive for me, because he's obviously seen danger, he senses danger. And obviously between him and Dave Voss and Roy Mackay, they're looking at things for the touchline, and when they see things, not going well, or a player maybe dominating. I'll give an example. The semi-final when Bassey was asked to step up and Mark Rogic, they identified him as a problem because he plays in that sort of floating role unmarked, and they basically decided, no, today we'll put Bassey, you can step up. You're still a centre back, but you can step up and go and sit in Rogic because he plays slightly deeper. So, and then the Dortmund match, when he went to the 3-5-2, Lundstrom back into the back three, and they pushed Tav and Borna high up on the wings, mate. And I think that's when I think a manager earns his crust, mate, and earns his coin, because we know the previous regime, and I've got massive respect for Steven Gerrard for what he's done for our club, mate. 55, love a guy to bits. Basically transformed this, the start of our rebuilding the club in a European status. But Gio, for me, mate, is taking us now the next step on the ladder, because he sees danger, he reacts, mate, and I think that's, as I said, that's when a gaffer earns his coin, mate. He's a very, very good young up-and-coming manager.
Blue Star, where now, Jim? We'll go to Blue Star now. Blue Star, the tactics that Port's touching on there, and about Gio taking us to the next level, I think that's where we see Gio's experience come through compared to our previous manager. The previous manager was very one-way street kind of with his tactics, whereas Gio, I think he's got that kind of experience to help us win a game, if you mean, rather than just see out a draw.
100%, mate. You're bang on, because you've got to remember, and listen, we all loved our last manager, but good players, great players don't necessarily make good managers. Some of the best managers in the game's ever seen, they weren't even footballers. They came from anywhere. The difference with Gio is the guy's already been in charge of a couple of teams, and they picked things up. He had a stellar playing career, and he's a typical Dutchman. The Dutchmen are connoisseurs of the game. And you watch him even on the sidelines. He's turning around to Mackay and the other bloke all the time. And as you say, guys, tactically wise, as I say, the only thing we ever had against him was at the beginning he wasn't making enough substitutions. That I can see now, because he reckoned some of the players that he had at his disposal just simply aren't good enough. And we've got to have our ones up there. Our strength and depth is really quite poor. You looked at the bench yesterday, And let's be honest, guys, how could he change it up front for starters? He only had basically one guy to bring on, and that was Scott Wright. And to be fair to the guy, when Scott Wright came on, he put in. I mean, I've watched the game a couple of times again, and Scott Wright put in a couple of fabulous balls. It's just that there was nobody there to come on them. If an Alfie or somebody like that had been there, he would have been on the end of at least a couple of them. So our manager, tactically wise, he makes wee tweaks during games, and as you say, Stevie G before him, there was umpteen times he was rigid to his system of play, and he just wouldn't veer for it, whereas Gio's entirely different. He watches these teams that we're coming up against, and guys, there's been quite a few, and we've all spoke about them, there's been quite a few situations now where he's put somebody in a position or he's moved them during a game, and you're saying, what's he doing that for? And the next minute, you know why, because he's seen something that the rest of us maybe haven't picked up on. He's a connoisseur of the game, and if we give him funds, which we have to do in summer, I'm telling you guys, I think we've got a massive, massive bright future under him, because he definitely knows the game and he knows how to play football. There's no doubts about it.
Can I come in there, Jeannie?
Hello.
On you go, Bridge.
Right. Just to say, we were talking about the young boy Wright. That young boy Wright there is his first season. The last week there, we played in Germany. That was the highest level of football that guy's ever played, ever. And he might never play that higher level other than Thursday.
Oh.
Hold on, mate. 2 minutes.
Right.
Just let Bridge finish.
Right, brother.
That's all I was going to say. I think the young lad's learning all the time. He obviously needs to bulk up a wee bit, I would say. But the problem is you've got to gauge that because he's young and fast. Now he needs to be able to work. The manager and the coach will work him round that. I have to say, there's a lot of Rangers fans who will turn around and say, "I'll just bin him in the summer and we'll get somebody else in," because they will say it. There's no doubt about it. But I think he's got a really good player and a great attitude. But the thing is, you watch him during the game and he gets battered about, a ping pong. Just dead easy. That's all I've got to say.
Right, I think we'll join me. Sorry, on you go, Eddie.
I think we've been joined with Tam. Is that right?
Aye, it's
Tam.
Tam,
these are thoughts from yesterday.
It's just to ask you a question. Everybody's on about wee Alfie this, wee Alfie that. Okay, I'm reusing that. He's a great player, but he only is a supplier. What we really need is a Ali McCoy, a penalty box striker. Right, we need that. Alfie's a great player, but we've got players there in the same calibre as Alfie to do that job. We've got Kent, right? They'll do the same kind of job. Big Haribo does the same kind of job. But we've not got a person up front that can turn in a threatening bit and put it in that net. Right? And that's what we're lacking. See the chances we're creating. Right? We should have won the league 3-4 times over if we took every one of our chances. I'm just wondering if the panel agrees or not,
Small margins, Tam. Jim, can we get your final thoughts, buddy? We've got a few calls coming in.
I could not agree more about the use of substitutions. Gio never done it his first few games in tenure. He didn't do it, but obviously he was trusting what he had. But his use of substitutions and changing the ploy during the game is there for everybody to see, and let's hope it continues. Okay, boys.
Well said, mate. Brilliant.
Okay, pal. See you later, boys. Take care.
Thanks, Jim.
Right,
cheers,
take
mate.
care. Bye-bye. Bye.
Cheers, Jim. Blue Star, can we get your final thoughts, buddy?
Yeah, guys, we did brilliant yesterday. We stopped them having a title party. To our own detriment, we could have had the league wrapped up ourselves, and we failed. I think it was quite simply down to a few things. I think the European run, it got us injuries. There were certain players playing too many games, quite frankly, because we didn't have the depth of squad. And number two, let's just get backed up, get right behind the team for Thursday, because as Bridge says every week, except this time, it's definite. This is the biggest game we'll play in quite a few seasons. And you don't get European runs as far as we've had this season. You just don't get them. You can sometimes only get them once in a lifetime. So all concentration, all backing, every bear will be there, that gun will be bouncing, and our players will have all the backing in the world. And I'm convinced, guys, if they play anywhere near their standards as Gio's had them, we're in for a tremendous end to this season. Make no doubts about it. But onwards and upwards, guys, and carry on the good show.
Brilliant, Blue Star. You've
Well
got
said,
the battle
mate.
fever going already. Well said. Right, we'll catch you during the week, Blue Star. All right, take care. Tam, Port was touching on earlier about the manager and being able to change things. It's going to be very important about tactics come Thursday.
Oh, definitely. Definitely, we need them. But again, we're starting to play like a kind of German theme, if you know what I mean. It's like we're strength and we're just going ahead. If you watch any good German team in the past, that's what everybody feared against them, is the way they attacked you, the way they approached the game. They come at you like a machine. It was like a blitzkrieg, if you know what I mean. Every player, even the goalkeeper, right? And we're starting to play like that. And we're not as good as it just now, but we're getting there. And if we do that on Thursday against that mob, then bang. That's how we're getting the results against the German team, because we're playing like the Germans.
Bridgeman? Bridge?
No, that's not a bad point. But we're playing the way we're playing to our own strengths.
Mm-hmm.
And if a formation comes up, it just shows you how good a manager this has been. And he's a purely international manager, isn't he? You know, he's landed in Scotland and he's been all over lots of places managing. So there's tips here everywhere. He's picking everyone up. And yeah, we may in fact sometimes be like a German team, and we're talking about positional wise here. But we're not got we definitely don't have the big, huge defenders that they've got, or midfielders that would run over the top of you, that kind of thing. But we're getting there. We're getting there. I hope it's another season and builds on the strengths that we've got now. Give us another John Lundstrom, just for saying sake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just go out and get them. We're going to need, by the sound of it and feel of it, we're going to need a good centre half, and we need to get them probably on loan. I think we really need to do that. So the manager's going to be searching high and low and bringing people in. And what would it be like to get a John Lundstrom and a really good centre half? Oh my God, they're never going to forgive us.
Port, can we congratulate our captain as well? He had fair driving his own.
I think Tav's been instrumental, mate, yet again this season. And you know how he was in the running for any of the PFA awards from our national organisers. I'm shocked, mate. I really am. For what that guy's done this year again, Captain Invincible, went there, he never misses a game. He gives you, he more or less plays two positions on that right hand side, mate. He defends and he creates chances. And it's incredible what he brings to the game. It's almost like at times it shows a game down to 10 men the last game. And he still didn't realise, he still looked like with 11 men on the park because of the job that James Tavernier does. And I tip my hat to him, mate, because he was a player that I gave a lot of criticism to in the early days. But his development again under Gerrard, and his development, I think, even further again into under Gio has been superb, mate. They're really buying into his system, their philosophy that him and Dave Voss are putting together. But we're looking like a very, very good European side. And it's a few, wobbly moments domestically, mate. But I just think that was down to part of getting used to our game, in my opinion, mate. Getting used to the Scottish game. He seemed to, get the European side of the game a lot quicker. But certainly, in domestic level, he had a wee few moments where we were, we dropped points, etc. The 2 each against Motherwell, etc. But I think James Tavernier's been outstanding this season, mate, yet again.
Tam, I think like say Tav yesterday, he was the man that was driving into the box, and we need to remember he's a fullback. You know what I mean?
I know.
He's constantly up and down for us. And like I says, people ask about his leadership credentials and stuff like that, but let's face it, he's led us to two semi-finals and a final. You know what I mean? So can we praise him any higher?
Criticise that guy? You know what I mean? How can anybody criticise that guy for his contribute to our team? No, it's like playing with an extra midfielder, an extra striker, you know, and yet he's a defender. I mean, he covers every blade of grass. And if you're building a team, that's the three people you build a team round. Right? Tavernier, Bassey, and Lundstrom. You know what I mean?
I like it. Aye, I like it. Bridge, what about Tav?
Tavernier is a fantastic athlete, an absolutely brilliant athlete, a very, very sensible fullback. He's not the best fullback in the whole world, but a very sensible fullback. But what an attacker! You know, he runs up that line and he's fearless and he never stops. What an engine he's got in him, and a great athlete. And he has many times he's dragged us and pushed us forward, and he's scored so many goals, hasn't he? Although he's not scored so many this season, I'm not talking about just the penalties, but he's scored a lot of goals for Rangers for a fullback, incredible amount. So it just shows you how good that guy can be, and maybe could be. And we have to watch out in case somebody wants to buy him or something like that. The light now we don't need to lose him. So as far as I'm concerned, he's been absolutely brilliant. I'm not saying he's the greatest captain in the world, but I say he does drive everything on. But see the big centre half I was speaking about earlier, that's going to be your captain when we bring him in. A 6'6" giant. Let him do the business and kill people.
Well, I'm going to steal a quote for Old School Blue. Tav's work rate is 9 out of 10, but his ability is 7. Is that kind of a fair assumption of the man?
I would give him an 8 rather than a 7.
But see, overall, I think once Tav's done with Rangers, when you look back at how long he's been with us and stuff like that, and led us to 55, like I say, it's Christ, and we're going into another European semi-final. I think the boy will always be looked back fondly. Port Bear.
I'll tell you, I'm going to say this right now, mate. His numbers will never, ever be repeated by any Rangers fullback.
No, never.
Never, ever, mate. And to me, that's testament to the man. When you think where he came from, when we were doing in the lower leagues, we signed him for Wigan for $250,000, and it was part of a deal involving Martin Wycorn as well. They came at the same time. You know, and I think what the guys give the club, you know, year on year, he's improved. You know, probably none of us would have guessed he was probably going to still be at the club. And he's getting to that stage, mate. He could very well get a testimonial at your club. Because why would you leave? Why would you leave? You know, why would you leave Rangers and he captain the club? He's earning good money. So he's a possible potential, mate, for a testimonial. He's been absolutely outstanding. And as I said, I've been critical of him a lot of times, but I'm glad I'm enjoying the taste of humble pie, mate, because he's just getting better and better. He's like a fine wine, getting better with age, mate.
Don't forget his captaincy in the European area. Fabulous.
Well, you take
well
it.
said. Wait, boys, if you want to do us a wee favour, if you want to put yourselves on mute, because we're going to get some staunchness on, we're going to have a tune.
Good.
don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Nothing like a good flute. I enjoyed that one. Port Bear. I think that's all firms basically finished now for the season. So Gio's, well, not so much Gio because he wasn't there for the first one, but Rangers' record there this season now is going to be 2 wins, 2 losses, and a draw. But I think between Gio's semi-final win and the draw yesterday probably gave him the credit in the bank, do you think, considering that heavy defeat he took at Celtic Park?
Aye, and I remember speaking to you privately, mate, regarding this. And I think at one point you had the feeling, if you remember back, that, you know, if it went on to the next Rangers, you know, Celtic game and another defeat in that last game, that we know the semi-final, I think that you were, or the thoughts were, you know, in a defeat in Europe, would they survive that? I think that's what we both spoke about, wasn't it? So I think if you think back to the 3-1 game, as I said, the humbling at Parkhead, for me, was either going to make them or break them. And it's how you adapt, mate. It's how you adapt as a manager. You know, how can you stop the rut? So, you know, and he's done that. I mean, a lot of questions were answered on that big week, mate, when we put Red Star out. You know, we obviously beat Dortmund as well. And then he goes to the semi-final. He wins the semi-final. And then he gets through against Braga in the same week, the same week. So he answered a lot of questions that week, mate. Again, when you use European credentials, but we'll want to finally get him, you know, get that hoodoo offer back, win a semi-final, get to the Scottish Cup final, and beat Celtic, which we did, and we absolutely destroyed them that day again. If you look at some of the last few performances in the Old Firm, GB, Rangers have been the best side, mate. They've absolutely battered them, you know, and they've been a bit of massive improvement for that 3-1 game. So that's all you can ask for as a supporter, your manager, to see your problems and fix them, mate.
I think we'll be joined with Jim from Paisley.
All right, guys.
Jim?
Oh, Jim.
Jim. I hope you're all well. This has been. Are you all well? Aye, good, great, fantastic. This has been hilarious. I was listening to some of the callers there. Fantastic. I've been actually laughing at some of the callers. I don't laugh at the guys that call in because they're important to us, obviously, right? Some of the comments, fantastic, hilarious. I don't want to embark back to Sunday. Sunday's funny. Sunday's done. Here comes a flying flea about Sunday, right? We were bigger fish to Friday, but then do it. If I want to think back in Sunday, if the guys are, you still there? You still with me? Am I still here?
Aye, Jim. Jim, we're talking about Sunday because it's obviously we're on Monday. We're just critiquing the game. We're just wanting to
I understand that. I was looking at our benching Sunday. I don't know if anybody noticed the benching Sunday. The players we had on our bench, right? I don't know how many people you allowed in the bench. I was looking along the line. Scott Lowry, there's no danger if he's coming on, unless we're running 3-0. Cedric Itton, there's no danger if he's coming on. He's filled his bench with players just to fill a bench, as far as I was concerned, right? The 3 players that they're bringing on, well, you read the Diallo, he come on. His first touch of the ball was a free kick. I said, well done you, son. Get in there. I think he's maybe learned a lesson now. Maybe the penny's dropped to him. It maybe too late was a cry. I'm not sure. But the rest of the guys that come on changed the game for us.
Aye, Bridge, I seen Dalio got a bit of praise, especially for the short time he came on. He seemed to have a better attitude. The tackle is Jim touched on there, and then obviously he had the drive forward to try and create a chance as well. So there might be an opening, but it might be too little too late, Bridger.
Yeah, I think I would agree with your last bit there. I think it's a wee bit too little too late overall for the lad. There's no doubt the guy's got lots of ability. You can see it just the way he strides with the ball. He's got lots and lots of ability. It's how he puts it all together. And I'm afraid up to now, and we saw a wee bit yesterday, and he's turning back and doing what he did, caught up with the guy and sort of took him out, if you follow what I mean. I didn't mean a nasty way. It just he managed to hold his own against them, and they gave away a free kick and got booked. So he took one for the team, in my opinion, and that's good. That's a good attitude. But there's no doubt he's got the ability, and he'll learn. Hopefully, he'll learn. Apart from anything else, he'll learn that if he's not playing well, he's not going to get picked in the big wide world. Not because he's a brilliant wee reserve player for Manchester United or something like that. He's got to, if he got to any first team football, he's got to play and listen to what the manager says and do what the manager says. We've seen him 3 or 4 times shirking out of tackles and things like that, and it's not good. It doesn't look good, and it doesn't look good for him or the club. We don't need that.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got to watch what he's doing and put some P's and Q's. If he wants to come back to Rangers, that's a different ball game. He might do a deal to bring him back for another year. But I certainly wouldn't be in favour of that, because I'm not too enamoured by him. Other than the fact that I don't wish him anything but good luck. That's all I can say. But yes,
Bridgeman. I'm not saying he's good enough for Rangers. But what I would say is the penny's just dropped him recently. But it takes to be a Rangers player. I'm just saying that. I'm not saying he's good enough. Nobody said he's good enough.
Jim,
I didn't mean that.
Jim, what I'm saying is, no matter who he plays for, he's got to be able to take whatever's going and play in the first team. And that's what he's learning. He's learning how can I play in the first team. Because as a non-first team player or as a youth player, he's obviously got lots of talent. No doubt about it, lots of talent. But he'll never, ever be a first team player with the way as he needs to improve greatly.
Yep, well said, Bridge.
Jim,
2 minutes, Jim.
I'm sorry.
Tam, can we get your final thoughts, buddy? Just got a couple of calls coming in.
It's my final thoughts is we've brushed it half and under the carpet about the behaviour, certain ones at the game on Sunday. And this is a platform where true football supporters like myself and you should be using to explain or ask the questions as to why they're allowed to do what they're doing, and yet MVD untoward or even what they think we're doing. It has exploded on the news, on papers, on radios and everything. We're condemned. We're getting treated like the unwashed, and yet they're doing what they're doing and we're saying nothing about it.
I agree, Tam. It's just obviously, like I say, when they look on the Rangers, they've always got a different point of view, mate. And like I say, we're on the night to try and take the positives for the game and obviously push on until Thursday, buddy. But thanks for your points tonight, buddy, and we'll catch up soon.
No problem. No problem. Good night, everybody.
Cheers, Tam.
Right. See you later.
Mate.
Right, good night.
Yeah, JB. I was just wondering about certain players we've signed in the past, right? Especially where Christmas signings and New Year's signings. There's some players, the penny doesn't drop with them until they're in their 18 months there. We've got players, we bought players there in the winter window. The penny hasn't dropped to them. We've got certain players there, they come on, that part players. So they're not. How do we know they're not going to make it? Give them another season. How long do we give them? I was wondering. There's certain players there have they kicked a ball for us since we signed them recently. For Christmas onwards, and they're sitting on the bench and they're playing hockey and heavy. They must have something. We wouldn't have signed them surely.
I'll take that to Port, because Port, you've got you're the man with the stats, so you'll know whether they've been gaining enough, mate.
It's one of them situations, GB, how long's a bit of string? And I'm going to use John Lundstrom as example. It's more or less taking him 8 months to, finally come to a party and show his ability. And it all takes, I know Ox talks a lot about this, he talks about timing and being in the right place at the right time. And like Diallo, when he came up here, he's probably come up here thinking, I'm coming up to a team that's very successful. I'm going to get a chance to play, in some games in domestic and in Europe, and we'll see how things go. Now, it's not worked out for a young lad, and that's the thing with these signings, GB. Not a lot of them are going to hit the ground running. You're never ever going to get a signing. Very rarely do you get a signing that comes in and just adapts. They're few and far between. Either that or there's very special players and they fit in anywhere, mate. I think every signing that you make in the level we're at the new in our signing policy. I think when you're shopping about the £3.5 million to the £7 million mark, you're not buying the finished article, but you're buying potential. If you want to call it that, you're not buying the finished article. You know my feeling on buying projects. I've got a different. I think we've got enough projects now already at the team, but also we've got players coming through like Lowry, McCann and King, who I think that should be the projects we concentrate on now. What I'd like to see going forward is, going and buying a good, experienced, honest pros, 25 to 30, the ball, more often than not, hit the ground running. Guys that's been there, done it, won things, or been on the cusp of winning things. So I think that's where you have to go forward now, mate. But definitely, if you're coming to that team, you can't, as I said before, you can't, doubt Giovanni, David Voss and Roy Mackay's coaching ability, mate, because they're getting a lot right in the coaching department, in my opinion, mate. So if you're any player that's, wanting to improve yourself and come to, the most successful team in the world, then, Rangers, look no further than Rangers, mate.
No, they've proved that before, especially in the European games. I think we've been joined with Tommy. Are you there, Tommy?
Yeah, I'm here, bro.
How are you doing, Tommy? Go and give us your thoughts for yesterday, buddy.
I thought we pretty much destroyed them. Yeah, we obviously never. This is what's worrying, is that we never seem to be able to take over where we need it to be, except for the semi-final, obviously. I mean, we in the second half, some of the football that we played was sublime, like it really was. I mean, they're a good team, but the way we played in the second half, they didn't stand a chance, and they were lucky that they never got papped by Moth, to be honest. I know that's me being biased as a Rangers fan, but we just, our movement, our pace, our positioning, everything about us was better. I just can't wait for Thursday, essentially.
Oh, that's it, Bridge, isn't it? With the build-up now, I mean, we had a strong performance. We are a weakened team yesterday, and that marches on to Thursday now, Bridge.
Yeah, well, we have to realise that that same team has done some basic wonders for us, to be honest, in Europe. So the same sort of squad of players that's the ones we've been using. And so we've done really well over in Germany again. And we're going to be playing. I don't know if Rip's going to make it. And I doubt very much if Aaron Ramsey's going to make it. So the thing is, that's our team for getting into Europe. In my opinion, that's the basis of it anyway. But they played against Celtic, who are the greatest team, as Oxlade calls them, the greatest team in the world. So I can't see past my team. My team are playing excellent, and we're going to come up against the big hitters again, and the Germans. But this time we're at Ibrox, and we need to play the same way we played against that mob yesterday. We need to play the same way. If it's the same team, and no matter what it is, we're going to play the same style, and we're going to go and do the business. That's what we need to do, and we need to think that. So they're good players, all good players, some better than others, of course, but we're all good players, and I think we have got a great chance on Thursday. And I don't want to disturb their thoughts in any way, shape or form. Just keep them up high as possible, and my thoughts anyway, and every Rangers fan's thoughts. Just think well of the team, and we'll get there.
Tommy, do you think any of the players that did start yesterday have a chance in Thursday, or do you think, like said, Davis or whatever was put in there just to not so much make up the numbers, but yeah. He was there. He was put in obviously to strengthen our team, but he'll probably not be starting on obviously Thursday night.
Well, it's an awkward one because definitely it's a Ryan Kent or Stephen Davis scenario as far as I can see the team. And Ryan Kent he's just a little bit more mobile, just a little bit. I mean, I'd take Steve Davis in any team that I would ever write down, pretty much, because he's brilliant. I just I think that maybe Gio and even Steve has probably realised that himself. That he's getting a bit old now, and it's not something that anybody wants to happen. We none of us want it to occur, but it's just it shows sometimes on the park. And when you've got a young 20-year-old boy that can run rings around any human being, and you're 37, 38. And you're trying your best, but you're still not going to be able to dig that out.
I agree.
As sure as that is, it's kind of reality.
I think, Tommy, and I'm going to take that one of your points to Port. We're talking about Davis, and Davis is kind of one of these guys that the contract's running down. I think one of our star players yesterday was Golson, and I think there's a big question mark over should we really be leaving his contract to run down, considering it's going to be so hard to replace a guy. Sometimes he does crazy stuff at the back, but 9 times out of 10, again yesterday, he's there to dig us out a hole. And I mean, these European performances show you that he is a top defender. Port Bear.
Aye, it's a wee observation, Gary. I've noticed since Ross Wilson has come in the door, and where I give that man a lot of praise in regards to the job he's done for the club, and and some of the signings he's made, and how they've went and developed into fine players. There's one sort of wee observation that I've got in regards to contract situations, mate. And like Golson will touch on first, how his contract was ever allowed to run down into the final year, 6 months, without getting something sorted, mate. I'm a wee bit, perplexed about it. And what I mean by that is, again, a guy signed for $3.5 million for Brighton with a heart condition. Rangers go and give him the chance. We brought him in, probably arguably to be a sort of domestic level centre back. But he's grown, in my opinion, mate, he's grown into, a great leader. He's a good defender. He's steady. I think he's only missed 10 games since he joined Rangers, which is incredible for a centre back. And then what he's added to that, mate, is his European experience. His European pedigree. He's a top defender in Europe, mate. He's never let us down. He's played against teams like Porto, Benfica, Dortmund, Leipzig. All these big names. And what I'm going to say is, mate, he's worth more than $3.5 million now. He's 29. He's in the twilight years of a centre back. He's probably going to go over the next 5 years. He will grow and develop further, mate. I just can't understand how we allow players to get down into the last 18, 12 months, 6 months of their contracts, mate. I don't know. Is that a problem that Ross Wilson has? Why have we not been keeping an eye on these contracts? Because we've got a few guys come up, mate, into the last year of their contract. And in my opinion, you lose value within the last year because the bargaining power you've then got is sort of gone because you've got a year. They know they can 6 months they can start speaking to clubs. I think it's a wee bit silly, mate, to allow contracts to get into their final year without speaking to these guys and saying, look, we've given you. I mean, Rangers have put Connor Golden on a pedestal, mate, and give him a great profile to raise his name. And I just think some of these players should give a wee bit back sometimes. I know it's not like modern football. It's not like that anymore. I know I use the analogy on here quite a lot. I think modern day footballers are like modern day mercenaries. Highest bidder, more money, that's where they go. But I just think that's something Ross Wilson and the team have to sort out, mate. I don't think we should be allowing players to run down into the last 18, 15, 12 months of their contracts because you lose the bargaining power of when you go to try and sell them. And by the way, just for the record, I want Connor Golden to stay because I think he costs $10 million to replace, in my opinion.
I agree, Port. I think Golson, I think it's like you say, it's got to work both ways. You've got to have a player that wants to stay, and you've got to have a club that want to pay him the right money. I think Ross Wilson's came out previously and said that there is a limit with the wages, but I think when you've got a guy like Golson, who, let's face it, is hardly injured, touch wood, and he gives you most weeks a decent performance, a guy that's proved himself in Europe, it's very hard to replace a guy like that. And I'll take that to our defence expert, which is the Bridgeman. Bridge?
Yeah, it's It's the truth. You've heard me many times. I'll praise Goldson to the highest. I think he's certainly the best centre half in Scotland, without a shadow of a doubt. There is nobody like him. And the wee point you put away with there, he's hardly injured. He's never injured, really. And I don't think he's missed many games for us, other than maybe for his wife no well or something like that. But I don't remember him. He's plays 50 plus games a season. And where are you going to get that? You're just not going to. Port's right. You're going to have to pay 10 million to get someone who's guaranteed skill levels like that and could just walk in. You would have to get a direct replacement with 10 million. I don't expect the club are going to do that. As I say, they'll probably go out and get a loan and cover it at the moment. But I think the world of Goldson. The world of for Goldson. I think, in my opinion, Rangers should have been pulling this out the stops at the beginning of this season. That's when they should have done it, at the beginning of this season. Sorry.
No, you're fine. It was just, I think we've been joined by another caller, buddy, and I think it is Uncle Juicy Bear.
Uncle Juicy.
Oh, good evening, gentlemen.
There it is. Juicy Bear, thoughts on yesterday? Just quickly, please, mate.
Well, I think, as I said briefly yesterday on the phone-in, and as a few other people have touched on tonight, just massively impressed with the fitness and the work rate, first of all. And as a few of you have said as well, we lacked depth yesterday. We've got a number of players out, and that Muppet Andy Walker on commentary was making a remark about Celtic having so much strength on their bench in comparison to us, which maybe was correct yesterday because they had more of a full squad, but it was our subs that made the impact and theirs didn't. And that was what was so pleasing to see. Even an under-strength Rangers side, he's got them playing now. Tactically, I think he's worked Ange out, at least in the last few games, which is great. Bodes well for next season. Fairly convinced Celtic only really play one sort of style, though I've seen them change it a few times, but that all-out style that you've spoken about, and we've combated that now the last few games, and that's really pleasing to see, because obviously we're going to be playing them again a lot next season, as we always do, and I was pleased. Sad that we couldn't get the win, but they showed me enough, and that's important for Thursday, guys, because that is the biggest game since 2008 in terms of globalness for our club, and it's a massive game.
I said, Tommy, Juicy touches on the game yesterday and how it was almost a win, but just not quite there, down to maybe either squad depth or whatever. But Gio's managed to work away a winning against, well, not so much winning. He has won against Celtic, but he's worked out their tactics.
I get where you're going with this, bro.
Yep.
Well, roughly, we'll finish your statement.
I don't know. That's what I was going to come on. Sorry, I was just going to say.
Okay, okay. I didn't want to be putting words in anybody's mouth. At the end of the day.
No.
We're more than capable of beating them on our day, given the strengths. For instance, Alfie, he brings loads of people. You watch on the internet, loads of people knock Alfie and what he does. But the reality is that see his skill on the ball and his ability to break up play, make play. It's quite incredible. Like when you watch. But in regards to what do you want me to record on here?
What for? Sorry.
Okay. Well, you mentioned. Listen, all we're thinking about now is Thursday. That's kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
And I'd already put on this, and I'd said to Ops that I had a dream, and it was a mad, as people have mad dreams, and Bassey scored a pure raker, and it was the final. I don't know why, but I was standing like hundreds of yards away from the goal, but in the stadium, And it was Bassey scored a raker against a team in red and white, and then I woke up. That's all I know. And other than that, man, the Rangers are going to win the Europa League. That's all there is to it. I've told you guys this before. That's
what the dreams are made of, buddy. That's what the positive mental attitude will get us there. I'm sure it. But
100%.
I want to hear for the other Bears. I want to start hearing some battle fever. So let's hear from you.
Okay, you want me to GTF?
No. I'm going to hear. I'm going to hear the jingle. I'm going to get the jingle and get some other Bears on as well alongside you.
Okay. No worries. Yo, bro.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show. It's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Port Bear, is the battle fever started in your house yet for Thursday?
100%, mate. I think as soon as the final whistle went yesterday, that was my immediate focus. Right on it, lies big. I believe the last time I checked, they were getting beat 2-1 tonight. So I don't know if they've rested, but I never checked their team, mate. But like you touched on there, mate, when we were at the Braga game, keep dreaming. This team has done something incredible. GB, I think if you think back to 2008, to think to where we were, and to think in such a short space of time, we're on the cusp of going to another European Cup final, mate. And for me, that's incredible, absolutely incredible. Change our manager halfway through the season. New guys come in, and it can go one or two ways, can you think, can he really make a big, massive improvement on the start that Gerrard has made? And the answer to that question, mate, is definitely aye. I think he's done a fantastic job, and I'm like, Tommy and them, I really do believe we go through on Thursday. We were at Braga, we know the atmosphere that the club creates, absolutely outstanding, and they're the 12th man, and if they turn up and you roll us to the final, mate, it'll be incredible. What a night that is going to be, mate, and I can see a positive result, 100%.
Bridgeman, is the carpets getting worn down in your hallway already for Thursday?
They are indeed, pal. They are indeed. My wife's fed up with me talking about football again, but she sends me into the bedroom anyway, But it's like this is going to be. I don't remember a game or an opportunity at a game bigger than this. I don't remember it. Considering we've played about God knows how many games in Europe now. So when I talk about my youth, we only played a few games in Europe in reality in anyone's season. But this is incredible. We went through unbelievable amount of games in Europe. And here we are at the semi-final of a major tournament. What an opportunity. What an opportunity. And Rangers, please don't let it slip by you. We can't beat them. If they beat us because they're a better team, then they beat us because we're a better team. But please, think about it, Rangers. This has got to be it. We've got to throw everything at this. And I hope we've got Roofs fit, and I hope we've got any players that are available, fit and available, and all ready for it. And the manager's got them all psyched up. Because if we go through on Thursday, my God, what's it going to be like? We're all going to be mental. All the Bears in the world will be mental. They won't believe it. It's a tremendous situation we're in. Great opportunity. Please, Rangers, please get us through there. Please. That's what I'm saying.
Well said, Bridge. Well said. Tommy, battle fever in your home, is it started for Thursday?
It kind of never ended, to be honest. From the Celtic game to battle fever's on. This is how we play. And let's go. I don't know how else to explain it. It sounds like you require another explanation. We played Celtic yesterday. We should have papped them, to be honest. But however, we never. A draw we'll take. Thursday, we're going to tear them apart. like proper tear them apart.
Juicy Bear, are you going to give us some information on the team that we are going to tear apart on Thursday night?
Yeah, so Leipzig played Mönchengladbach tonight away. As you were saying earlier, they lost 3-1. Gladbach had a player sent off as a last man centre-back, taken out Nkunku on the hour mark. So they saw it out. They were 2-1 and they scored again in the 77th minute to go 3-1 up on Leipzig with 10 men. So, a very good result for Gladbach. Leipzig had to play their whole team because they were still going for that 4th place. They were down to 5th after the weekend's results. So after losing that game, they're really looking outsiders now to get top 4. Little bit surprised that there was Bundesliga matches on a Monday night when they've got to go away on a Thursday. But he had to play the full squad tonight. So there was no resting players, and it was a physical game, guys. They were kicking lumps out of Nkunku. Now, not that I want to see a player injured, but I wouldn't mind seeing him just maybe 70% or something like that for the sake of our game on Thursday. But it was physical, and they had to work hard, and they lost 3-1. So hopefully a little bit of poor form from going into our game, because any little 1 or 2% that we can take, fantastic, guys. And wouldn't you love a 3-1?
Not one
that's it, buddy.
Sorry.
No, Tom, I was going to come at you, mate. Final thoughts, mate, just because we've got another couple of calls coming in.
Okay, then. The reality of the matter is, if we go out in the manner in which Gio wants us to, and we want our players to, we're going to terrify this team to the point where they actually don't even know what game they're playing. Like, for real, this is all there is. There's 90 minutes for Rangers to get to the final of the Europa League Cup, and that's what's going to happen.
Brilliant.
And on that note, I'll leave you.
Take care, buddy. Thanks for your time. Cheers, bud.
Yo, bro.
Great points there, Porter. Tommy's got the battle fever.
Definitely.
I'll cut across you, buddy. I think we've been joined by Alex. Who wish you?
Good evening, Gary.
How we doing?
Good evening, Port Bear, Bridgeman.
How we doing?
Everybody else that's here. Everybody doing okay?
Was that you?
Some guy, Alex Wilson. All right, Bridge.
You all right,
I'm fine, thanks very much. I'm just about yesterday and I'm quite proud of the team, really, for the performance we put on. It still sticks in my mind what I've been, right enough. We could have that league well sewn up. It kind of sticks with me that they're going to win the championship. Without losing any crazy points, we should have really won that league this year. And now we've got to look forward to Thursday, which is a massive game for us now. It's payback to the supporters here. We've got to win this game now and get to this final. We've already in your tickets for next year, so we're expecting big things on Thursday night.
I'm going to, Alex, you make an interesting point there, and I'm actually going to take it round everybody, and I'll even give you my opinion on it as well. If you had to turn back time in hindsight, and somebody said to you that you're going to get to a European final, you'll not win the league, but you'll be in the Scottish Cup final, would you have took it? So for me, I would say yes. Port Bear?
I'd have bit your hand off, mate. I would have bit your hand off if you told me this is the way your season was going to pan out so far. Definitely, mate.
And I would have bit your other hand.
So, what you, Bridge? Is that a yes?
I would have bit your other hand off. Absolutely, pal.
Juicy Bear?
Absolutely, because it doesn't come around every year, does it? The league is there every year between only two teams. So, absolutely, I'd bite your hand off.
And Alex, who wish you, since you made up the point, mate?
No, I totally agree. If you knew hypothetically that's how it was going to pan out. But the point is, in the league position, we were all these points in front and we blew it. That's the bottom line. We can only explain. They're not a great team. They already proved in the semi-final. They were there for the taking.
with them there in the back foot yesterday and all. It sticks out with you that the league's went away. All the coefficient points we've gathered, the full lot, and they're going to get in there and sneak in. Certainly, European football is where Rangers are going to be. I've said it a long time in this programme. As long as Rangers are focused in Europe, it will keep us going in the league campaign. And that's exactly what's happened there. Albeit we fell short at the end. We've run out of games. I'd probably run another 5-6 games would have had a better chance in the championship. But that's another story. What I'm saying now, if we go in and win this game on Thursday night, which I believe we will, and we go to the final, and I hope we win it, I'll tell you now, that's a bigger compliment than them winning the European Cup in '67.
Here. Port Bear?
I totally agree with you, sir, Alec. Can I ask, Gary, like, the older generation in here tonight in regards to if Rangers go in and win this European trophy, is that a better outcome in '72? Is it bigger? Is it a bigger achievement? Bridgeman and obviously Alec.
I'll go first because Alec's a bit older than me. Can I just say, look, if you go way back, it took a long time before the European systems all changed, and you ended up with these sort of group type games. So you're multiplying times 4 probably the number of games you'll play. I think, if my memory serves me right, we got to the semi-finals of the Cup Winners' Cup 1967. We got to the finals, and we only played about 8 or 9 games in Europe, so that's how much it took. Now, you count them up yourself, you know what we're doing, you end up playing something like 12, 15 games, that's including the sort of qualifiers. So that's what you've got, and I think it's, I've never known anything like this. I've never known anything like by the way, I have to say, it's been building up for 4 seasons. The great, shall we say, service we've been given by the manager under Gerrard, for instance. He's taken us so far, and this boy's taken us even further now. And it's just heaven. I'll tell you right now, this is Rangers heaven. We are a chance. These chances don't come once in a blue moon, up to now anyway. So I think this will be the greatest achievement for any Rangers team at any era. Even winning the Cup Winners' Cup, which was fabulous. I don't take anything away from anyone. But this is massive for us. Really massive. That's the way I feel about it.
Well said, Bridge, well said. I've been joined by Big Al. Big Al, you there, mate?
Yeah, how are these gentlemen? How's the gangbanger, the Port Glasgow gangster?
How we doing? Hope you're well, mate. Hope you're well.
Oh, I'm good.
Excited for Thursday, Big Al?
Look, we'll start with yesterday first. What was Joe Aribo's lethargic? I think he actually bordering on lazy yesterday. I think we could have done them if the tactics were different. I didn't see the point in him. I think we were a man down all the time he was on that park. Really, really bitterly disappointed with him. Doesn't look interested. Might just be his mannerisms, but bitterly disappointed. We should have done them yesterday. Second half was good. You see what you get out of Sakala when he's through the middle. Do you change it for Thursday? Do we really bank on Roof? Do we not play Sakala through the middle? He's on a bit of form.
I'll take it around the panel, Big Al, because it is interesting the way Sakala's starting to get an understanding of that position. Port Bear.
I touched on it earlier on, Gary. You know my feeling on Sakala playing through the middle, mate. I think he's limited in regards to he's up against 2 centre halves. If it's like Leisby, you play 3 centre halves. So what I think is, he's back to goal. I don't think he can play with his back to goal at all. I don't think
I don't mind him playing with his back to goal. I want him. I mean, the last twice he's played through the middle, he's scored goals. So I don't know how he's limited.
I'll let Port finish and then we'll just take it around everybody.
I think what I'm getting at, mate, is I think that's the reason Joe Aribo has to play or another. If it's Roof, I hope it's Roof, mate. I hope Roof makes it and he plays as that guy that's going to hold the ball up, fight for everything in fashion, like you're saying, can get close to him and run inside them channels, whether it be inside left or inside right. That's where I find the wee man's dangerous. When he gets the ball to feet and he gets to turn if he gets the turn, mate, you see what he's like. Gets the turn on goal. He's lightning quick, and as I said earlier on, that finish against Joe Hart was absolutely outstanding, mate. I agree with you in regards to wee man's on form. He knows where the net is. His goal ratio is superb for a guy that's not actually played to the middle a lot. So I hope Roof's fit. My front three, if Roof's fit for Thursday, mate, would be Kent on the left, Roof in the middle, and Sakala on the right. That's where I'd like to go, mate.
Juicy?
Yeah, I think at some point on Thursday we're probably going to need Roof and Fashion. If we need to change it up, there's two options that you've got there. One thing I'll say about Fashion when we were away in Braga, it didn't work having him through the middle in that match, but that depends on the tactics that we were employing and how Braga was set up. So you can't immediately say that it's not going to work if you play him down the middle in another match. I don't think he comes off the right as well as he does on the left, but the trouble is, Kent's undroppable on the left. So as long as they change it up, mix it around as they're playing, which they do anyway, he'll get his opportunity, and hopefully Roof is fit as well. But we're going to need both of them if they're both fit. And every single player, they're going to have to play the game of their lives on Thursday. It's the biggest game, like I said earlier, in a long, long time. And we are capable of doing this. So ultimately, I don't care who the hell scores, but we do need the four players to be there because we have lacked, and we know this, guys, we have lacked goals from our forward line all season. And even when Alfie's fit, I know Alfie brings a lot more to the table than just goals, but he's not a clinical goal scorer, is he? And if there's something that we do need for next season is we need an SPFL striker who will bang those goals away in the league, because European-wise, we're set up quite nicely. We just need someone else who can knock those goals in, because we know that Itten isn't that guy.
Alex, just Big Al's point on Sakala, would you keep him up there?
Well, see, in my opinion, if Roof is anywhere near fitness, he goes into that team. We need him to score the goal. He's the class striker we've got. We've tried Sakala down there, okay, a peachy game there against Celtic yesterday. We've tried having him with a guy. But Roof is definitely, whether he's 60% fit, he's got to play. He's definitely got to play on Thursday night, in my opinion.
Reg?
Well, what can you say? Here we are. It's a huge dilemma, isn't it, for everybody? Personally speaking, I hope that Roof's fit, because I think Roof will be the number 9, in my opinion. But I wouldn't take any away from Sakala. I think Sakala had a tremendous second half yesterday. He could have scored a hat-trick dead easy if he'd got his shooting boots on properly. And that one had thundered off the post of a cracker. Keeper beating all it. Ends up very similar to the one he scored, only that was from the left. And a great shots when the keeper managed to put the ball over the net, over the bar. And I would love to play Sakala in my team, but I don't have the brains or the guile of Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. But definitely, if Roof is available, then Roof will be in the team, 100%.
Big Al, would you have him in the team, mate?
Whatever you said there, these were all wrong. I would play him because I think you've got to play guys that are in form, and I think I'm a big admirer of the Roof, but I think he takes 1 or 2 games to get back up to speed after an injury. Playing a guy that's 60% fit, I think, goes against the ethos. Or if he's 50% fit, it's the same with the scenario with Ramsey. I don't think Ramsey should be anywhere near the team. I think that would just upset the team. I think we've got enough in the midfield. But I'd be playing as the big English boy. Is his name Tom? Tom said Sakala's not that effective coming off the right. He's meant to be more effective coming off the left. I think he's more effective going through the middle. He should have he had a header as well. I don't know why we want to play holding balls up. We want to attack this team on Thursday. We want to get up 2 or 3 goals, put the tie to bed and get to this final. I think Sakala's ideal. I think he's on form. I don't think you change it. If, God forbid, we are behind and we need to change it up, I think that's when you might bring your Roof and that on. Or we're up by 2 and we want to just solidify the result, then you bring Roof on. But at the moment, I mean, we speak about it all the time. I think you've got to play guys that are in form, and I think Sakala is the guy that's in form. We've no other options. You cannot play that Aribo there again. That's just tactically, that's just crazy. And by the way, Bridge, he might be tactically better than you, but he's not as handsome as you, Gio. So just you remember
that. Boys, I mean, look overall. I mean, how in this day and age, look how hard it is to actually get to a European semi-final. And I'll take this Rooney's. Like the team has probably done more than enough than what we would have expected of them to get to this point. I'll go to Port Bear.
Of course, mate. You know, if you look at some of the teams we've played in the last 3 rounds, if you look at their transfer budgets and where they are in world football compared to the team that we've managed to stick together, a lot of free transfers in there, Bosmans, and guys that's came for not a lot of money, and we've managed to get to the semi-final a European tournament. And I think which improved under Gio as well, mate, and what's got us there is a team. We're not playing as individuals, we're not relying on guys like Ryan Kent to have a moment of magic and Morelos to put the ball in the net, a Goldson to shot with a header. I think what's shown me since Gio's come in, the way they work for each other, play as a team and play for their manager, that's where that brotherhood, that's where it comes to for me, mate. They're absolutely playing their heart out for each other. And if you've got that in your team, mate, you're capable of anything. Nobody, you can't beat that brotherhood. If you're out there wanting to bleed, sweat, snotters, the whole lot for each other and for your gaffer, then you'll go a long way.
Big Al, how proud are you of the team, especially with it being decimated with injuries and all the rest of it, to get to this point on Thursday?
I'm always proud of my team. I'm always proud to be a Glasgow Rangers fan, but we've won hee-haw and we let the league slip away, so that's probably the wrong question to ask me. Bitterly disappointed with the league, and we've not won nothing yet. I think people are getting a bit too excited. I'll get more excited if we win on Thursday, we get the final, but ultimately a semi-final, to me, you've won nothing. If you get knocked out, we've won nothing. So I can see how people are optimistic and happy about it, but nah, for me, you've still won hee-haw, so that's my take on it.
Okay,
sorry to be.
No, it's your opinion. It's fine. Juicy Bear, on you go.
I mean, that's the problem with teams that lose in semi-finals, isn't it? Unfortunately, for all the hard work that they've done, no one remembers them, which is why we've got to do everything we can to make sure that doesn't happen on Thursday. I mean, look, this is going to be our 18th match in Europe this season. 18. So it'll be 19 if we get to the final, which will be the same number of games we played in 2008. And that's a hell of a lot of matches. We only had to play 5 matches, or five teams to win the Winners' Cup in 72. So, it's twice as many matches we've had to play. Europe now is just different levels, isn't it? In terms of who's designed to win it. It's the top 5 leagues that are designed to win it, not teams from smaller leagues. So we've done massively well, but we want to be remembered, as Big Al said. We've got to win that game on Thursday. And as Bridgman said earlier, we want them to play their best. If the better team's Leipzig, then so be it. But I want them to leave everything out there. I don't want to go away from that match saying, oh, if only we'd done a bit better. I want them to say there was nothing more we could have done. And if that's good enough to win, absolutely fantastic. I want to see us in 2 finals this season. And if we can win both of those, we can be very pleased with this season.
Alex Fuishi, I think the team themselves probably know that this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity probably for them. So it's going to be down to them on the part to beat Leipzig, in which, to be honest, watching the game the other night, I think we've got more than enough in the team to get a result against them.
Absolutely. We've got good character in the team. I'll be there on Thursday. I just feel if I've got Kemar Roof in that team on Thursday night, we've a better chance. He's a striker, and that's what we're going to need. Somebody to finish all these passes getting into the box. And that's how I look at it. I might be wrong, but I played a lot of football during my days as well. He's a striker. We need this guy.
Well said, buddy.
Well said,
I think
Alex,
we've been joined by Amanda. Amanda, Ian.
Hi, good evening all. How are we all?
Very well.
Are we all okay?
Hi, Amanda.
Excited
I'm
for
fine,
Thursday, Amanda?
I'm fine. Well, I'm just buzzing. I just love Rangers, as you all know, and I just want to see them get a good result on Thursday night. Okay, it's disappointing the league form this year, but let's move on with it. If we get a result on Thursday night, who's to say how far if we could get a win in the final? Just Thursday night, I think if we get those back, that gives us a big incentive. But I think we can do it on Thursday night. I think we've got a good enough team to do it. I mean, I'm just buzzing. I'm always buzzing when Rangers are playing, as you know. I'm just pure hyper when Rangers are playing. I'm like a cat in a hot tin roof on Thursday night. I couldn't sit still. I was like a cat in a hot tin roof yesterday. Couldn't sit still. So, no, I'm just buzzing about Thursday night. And I think we've just got to go for it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, that's the one thing we've got. I've just got to go for it. But anyway, I'll let you go because I know you're reaching the end of the show, but I hope we get a result on Thursday and I'll speak to you soon, okay?
Thanks, Amanda. Brilliant points. Just that.
Bye.
Take
Bye.
care, pal.
Juicy, mate, can we get your final points, mate?
I love that positivity. That's everything that we need this week, guys, because it's going to ramp up every single day. We're going to get more and more pumped as the week goes on. And you guys are going to be there to help us take it over the line. So let's keep it going.
Brilliant, mate. Alex, who wish you, mate? Final points?
Oh, great show, Gary. You've done very well tonight. I'm just looking forward to Thursday. I'm confident, son. Get your flights booked up for Seville.
Oh, mate, don't worry. I'm actually looking at a place and wish it to book them for me, mate. So we'll be in touch.
No bother, kid. No bother.
Big Al, final points, buddy?
You've conducted yourself very well as the host tonight. You've still got a long way to go in regards to catch up with the ultimate host, Oxchair, but good on you.
Thanks for that, Big Al. Much appreciated, mate. Yep, there's no man that can beat the patter of Big Ox, that's for sure.
Nah, no, Ox is like Morelos and you're like Sakala, aren't you?
You're
on form.
I'm more like Sibo. Big Al. I'm like Sibo.
What's that wee boy that does the weather in Scotland? Ox is like Paxman. You're like that wee boy that does the weather.
Sean Batty.
Sean Batty.
Right. Nah, good luck. Like I'm proud of my team. I'm proud of my team. I just think Thursday it is going to be a difficult game. I think the players will be up for it, and hey ho, let's get to that final. Well, not just get to the final, win the final. I was in Manchester, bitterly disappointed with that. There's grown men crying around about me, but I thought Rangers could have done more in the game. So when we get to that final, leave nothing. Don't even leave anything with any legs.
You're here, mate.
Just lift the cup. Lift the cup. That's all I want.
Get in it to win it. That's right, Al. Port Vale, mate. Final thoughts?
Massive week, mate. Massive week. Well done on the show tonight. Rangers players, this is... It may never happen for some of them again, GB. This is a week to just, as the boys are all saying, leave everything out there. Leave everything out there. Not an ounce should be left on, in your body. And if you do that, and that support role you're on, there's only one outcome, mate. We know Lies Big's a massive team. They've got some wonderful young talent. Juicy will back me on that. We know how good and dangerous they are. They've also got a few coming back for suspension. But with our Ibrox full and bouncing, mate, as the song goes, I'm feeling it.
Oh, lovely. Like it. Over to you, Bridge.
Oh, listen, well done, by the way. GB, well done. That was a superb night tonight. Everybody, and of course, Port Vale. What can you say about Port Vale other than nothing nice? He's a real good guy. Can I just say to all the Rangers fans all over the world, and particularly Rangers fans on here, on Rangers Radio, this Thursday, make my mind up, this Thursday is the biggest occasion for Rangers history, in my opinion. That's what I think it is. Massive, massive, massive game Can't be any bigger. So get the build-up going, guys, and everybody keep it going for the Rangers, because the Rangers really need us. They really do. Keep it going.
Well said, Bridge. Well, I would like to thank all the callers tonight. Blue Star, Jim, Tam, Jim for Paisley, Tommy, Juicy, Alex from Wisher, Big Al, Amanda. And I'd like to thank my two colleagues tonight, Port Bear and Bridgeman. A fantastic show, fantastic points, fantastic passion, as not unexpected by the Bears, the Glasgow Rangers. Onwards to Thursday now, after a great performance, I would say, by the team yesterday. Thanks very much. You've been joined by Rangers Radio. We'll speak to you tomorrow. Good night.
Today, forever and for always, we are Rangers through and through. Well, the legends come and the legends go, but Rangers live on just the same. For a new one's born when the blue shirts won, and we all remember their name. We are the legendary Rangers. We wear the legendary blue. Today, forever and for always, we are Rangers through and through. And there is no doubt what we're all about when we face the world and say,